should double check. Yes, we are, because we're 1 minute past. So, okay.
Oh.
Oh no. All right, let's come to a comfortable seat. We'll take a moment to center, a little moment to focus. And if you happen to have a yoga block, we're gonna do a little hugging of the yoga block in between our legs today. I grabbed my smaller one. If you have big ones, that's okay too. The smaller ones sometimes fit a little bit better in between the thighs. But if you don't, a pillow will work fine, or you don't have to use anything, that's okay too. So as you come to a comfortable seat, if you do have any tension through the hips, the low back, whatever happens to be there, then sit up on something, elevate yourself a little bit, okay? And then as you let your hands rest down and as you let your eyes close, start to bring your focus to your breath. And as you let your breath do its job of expanding and contracting you, begin to let it slow. And begin to allow it to move to more places in your body. And we're bringing our awareness this week to our solar plexus energy center, that place above the navel that is associated with heat and fire and personal power. So take a couple big breaths and think about just above the navel as you're expanding and contracting with breath. Notice this area, and you can always put your fingers right there if you want to, just above the navel. And take a couple big breaths and feel your hands move as you breathe. Or you can simply breathe and notice that area expand and contract. And then the color is yellow. So as you expand and contract this area, if you'd like to imagine the color yellow there, or you can imagine an orb. Just notice this area, the color yellow. And then bring the affirmation to mind, which is, I stand in my personal power. Or you can think I sit in my personal power since we're sitting right now, but you can bring this affirmation to mind. And then very purposely sit taller. And now bring hands to connect at heart center. And as you take another big breath, sitting even taller, lengthening through the spine, take an exhale and think of those ribs around your solar plexus contracting as you bow towards your heart. Then softly opening your eyes and releasing your hands down. We're going to shift right away into a hands and knees position. Feel free to do this from down dog instead. Feel free to put something underneath your knees for support. But as you come to your hands and knees, like I said, you can also do this from down dog if you want to. We're going to move a little bit through our spine. So as you inhale and tilt your belly down, start to open up through your chest, expand your heart. Notice your ribs may be flaring a little bit downward. Exhale, round upward through your spine, pulling in through your ribs. Inhale, belly toward the ground. And exhale, spine lifts. One more time, cat and cow. Inhale and exhale. Stay in your cat-like pose with your spine rounding upward. Let the back of your neck get long. Nod and shake your head a couple times. And then come back to a neutral place. And from here, reach back with your right leg. And as you reach it back, we're going to keep our hips level and bend our knee, pressing your heel toward the ceiling. Level with the hips, tone your low belly and tone your ribs. As you exhale, draw your knee in towards your nose, pulling up with your ribs, expanding into the upper back. Inhale, reach it back, knee bent, foot aiming toward the ceiling. Exhale, knee in towards your nose. One more time, inhale, bent knee, press your heel up. Exhale, knee in towards your nose. Then releasing your knee down, settling hips back towards your heels. You can work your way into a child's pose here or a puppy pose with your hips a little higher if you would like. Set your head down, take a full big breath, and take a moment to notice. You can always add a little bit of movement here, side to side through hips or reaching further forward with your arms. And now inhaling, rising back up to your hands and knees. Reset yourself, neutral spine. Find that rotation of upper arm bones so that your elbow pits are trying to turn a little forward. Push and expand into the upper back. Now engage the low belly from here. Keep it engaged as you lift your left leg. Remember, we're keeping our hips level, pressing through your heel toward the ceiling. Exhale, knee in toward your nose, lifting through your ribs. Inhale, bent knee, leg draws back, foot toward the ceiling. Exhale, knee in toward your nose. Inhale, reach it back, foot toward the ceiling. One more time. Exhale, knee in toward your nose. Inhale, foot toward the ceiling, and then knee back on the ground. And this time, turn your palms up as you settle your hips back towards your heels, giving your wrists a break here if they're starting to feel any tension. Take a big deep breath. And now rising up to your hands and knees. This time we're shifting to downward facing dog pose. So tuck toes under, lift hips up and back. And now inhale, lift your right leg, hips are level. Take a full big deep breath as you push your heel toward the wall behind you. Lift through your ribs. Take a full big deep inhale and exhale. You're stepping your foot forward, and if you need to bring your back knee down to get it there, you can. If you'd like to use blocks underneath your hands, you can. Center with your hips. Take a full big breath as you draw your ribs more forward, heart more forward. Full inhale and exhale in and out of your nose. Then next exhale, step all the way back, either hands and knees or down dog. If down dog is getting tiresome, then feel free to bring knees down. Root down through palms and fingertips. Find that rotation of upper arm bones, and then push from those wing muscles on your back, from your lats. Inhale, left leg lifts. Again, center with your hips and lift through your ribs. Then exhale, we're working our left foot forward in between your hands, and you can always have blocks underneath your hands here. Center the hips, extend your heart, take a full big deep breath. And then plant hands, step all the way back one more time, downward facing dog pose. Bend your knees, send your sitting bones up as you push from your lats out through your hands. And then tone through the core. Low belly and ribs lift. And now take as many steps forward as you need to come forward into forward fold. Take an inhale and lengthen part way, long spine. Exhale and fold over your legs. Hands to hips. Press back on hips, start to lift up with shoulders and elbows, and then rise all the way up to stand. And now as you come up to your standing position, we're going to grab our block or whatever you're using for a prop and set it in between your thighs. And again, it could always be a pillow or it could be a blanket, whatever you need, whatever you have. But then walk your feet in so your thighs are starting to hug against the block. And from this place, I'll turn sideways so hopefully you can have a little visual. Lift and spread your toes, little bend to your knees. Use your inner thigh muscles to move the block back. And as the block rotates back, you might notice your knees turn in a little bit. So here, glute muscles rock down and under to help your knees open up more toward the pinky toe edge. Okay, so you're still trying to move the block back, but then using your glute to counteract that turning in of the knee. And now push down with your toes and settle your hips back into your chair pose. Inhale, reach your arms up. Take a full big breath as you hug in with the muscles of your legs into the block. Think of moving the block back and down with your inner thigh muscles, wrapping glutes down and under to help your knees open up just a little bit. Take a full big deep breath, tone through the low belly and the ribs. Inhale, lift your heart. And now exhale, go ahead and fold over your legs. You can take the block out now. Inhale, lengthen part way, sitting bones lift. Exhale and fold. Let your head hang, belly resting against your legs, so bend your knees more if you need to. Maybe hold on to opposite elbows. Let your head release, your neck release. Sway a little. And now plant your fingertips and step. Right foot back into your lunge. Right knee can be up or down. Set your back knee on the ground if you want, but like I said, you can keep it up if you want. Right hand to the block or the floor on the edge of your mat, left hand to your knee. As you start to turn your belly and your heart toward the left side, engage your shoulder blades, and then draw in through your ribs to help you twist a little bit more. Maybe stretch your top arm up, maybe keep that back knee up. Remember, that's an option. Take a full big deep breath. Exhale, both hands come down to the ground or to your blocks. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, step your left foot back into your lunge. Center with your hips, and again, back knee up or down. Left hand on a block or the floor. Right hand to your knee as you start to turn your belly and your heart toward the right side. Shoulder blades are engaging. Now use your left hand pressing down to help draw ribs in and lift them to open more. Maybe stretch your top arm up. Take a full big deep breath. Exhale, both hands come down to the front of your mat. Lift your back knee if it's down and step forward. Feet inner hip distance apart and parallel. Inhale, lengthen part way. Exhale and fold. Hands to hips. Press back on hips. Shoulders lift, elbows lift, and rise all the way up. So now we're going to take a twist in our chair pose. Block again in between your legs. So this time the block helps you to keep your knees steady, your thighs steady. Because as we take a twist, inevitably, our knees end up twisting and our hips end up twisting. So settle hips down, squeeze into the block, lift and spread the toes, move the inner thighs back. And then a little engagement of the glutes, wrapping down and under, engage the low belly, the ribs. From here, take your right hand to your left thigh or knee, left hand to your hip, and as you settle your hips down, you're keeping them even and squeezing into the block. Inhale, lengthen through your sides. Exhale, ribs in to help you twist. From here, if you want, you can set your elbow down, stack your hands, or you can stay lifted. But squeeze into the block, notice where your knees are in space, and twist from the ribs, not from your low back. Take a full big deep breath. Inhale back into center. Pause and stand up for a moment. Shake out your legs. And then go ahead and set the block back in between your legs. And settle your hips down. Squeeze in and rotate the inner thighs back. And then engage the glutes to support the knee. And now, as you engage the low belly and the ribs, lift your chest and then reach across with the left hand to the right knee or thigh, right hand to your hip. Press hands and extend through your spine. Exhale, ribs in to help you twist, keeping knees even as you squeeze into the block. Inhale longer through your spine. Exhale, maybe settle a little lower. Maybe use your elbow at your knee, hands to stack, or stay high. Take a full big deep breath. Inhale back into center. Exhale, fold. Feel free to remove the block. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. One more time. Deep breath. And now hands to your hips. As you press back on hips, lift up and open through your shoulders and rise all the way up. And now from your standing position, we're going to take a thigh stretch and then a little glute work too. Yay! So as you find your balance onto your left foot, you're welcome to use a wall here if you'd like to, but pick your right knee up towards your chest, slide your hand down your shin to your ankle or your foot, and bring your foot behind you. You can use a strap here if you want to. The other option is bending your knee and not holding on to it. That too can give you a good stretch through the thigh. So wherever that is for you, reach through the thigh and then bend your standing knee, squeeze your standing glute, and as you push into the floor, let your hip lift on the right side even as you're reaching through your thigh. Engage your foot in your hand, and then think of moving the inner thighs back. Remember that rotation we did with the block? Move your inner thighs back until maybe your glute touches your heel. Lift your ribs, your chest, your heart, and even more so think of right knee moving down, left shoulder moving open and away. Take a full big deep breath. And then gently release and shake it out. Okay, second side. As you balance onto your right foot, pick your left knee up and towards your chest, slide your hand down your shin and bring your foot behind you. And as you find that, start to reach through your thigh toward the ground, engage your foot in your hand. And then notice, squeeze the standing glute as you bend your knee and push into the ground to lift your left hip up a little higher. Keep reaching through your thigh and open the opposite shoulder up. Take a big deep breath. Good, and then gently release your foot and shake it out. Okay, so this time we're going to turn this into a little bit of a glute work exercise. So I'll hopefully turn sideways enough for you to see. We'll see how that goes. Left foot balance, right knee bends. We're not taking a hold of it this time. So now as you keep your chest lifted, start to move your thigh back. And as you move your thigh back, you're pressing through your heel behind you, engaging into the foot. Hips are level, so try to keep them even. As you open the right knee up, keep the hips level. Don't let the hip open, just the knee. And as you let that happen, feel a little squeeze into the glute. And if you need to unopen it and then open it again to try to find that squeeze, that's okay too. Let it go and then open it back up if you need to. Or keep it open, recenter the hips, lift the chest. Take a full big breath. And then inhale, rise back up, set your foot down, shake it out. Yeah, glute work, hooray. Okay, right foot balance, left knee bends. And this time, remember, we're not taking our foot, but reach the thigh, lift the chest, and then begin to move the thigh back. Just a little ways, flex your foot, you're pushing through the heel, keep the hips level, and open the knee up. Just a little bit, because all we need to do is get that squeeze. Centered with the hips, lift your chest, take a full big breath. And again, remember, you can unopen it, or close it, I should say, and then reopen it. Sometimes that helps you to find that squeeze. You might be saying, Dawn, I don't need to do that, I've got it. That's great. Sometimes the glute says, I don't know what to do, and you have to teach it. Go ahead and release it and set your foot down. Shake it out. Whew. All right, feet inner hip distance apart and parallel. Lift and spread your toes and then root them. Take an inhale and stretch up overhead. Exhale, bent knees, fold over your legs. Inhale, lengthen part way. Exhale and fold. Plant hands and step back. Downward facing dog pose just for a moment. Push from lats out through your hands. Lift your sitting bones. And then knees down, hips to heels, take a child's pose, take a full big deep breath. And then gently push yourself all the way up to your seat, and you're gonna come down onto sitting bones. And now we're gonna come all the way down onto our backs and make sure that you have your props handy. And especially the block for in between your legs. So we're gonna do one more exercise. So from your back, footprints to the ground, set the block in between your thighs. And then start to hug into the block with your thighs. And now from here, take your hands to your hip bones and tilt your pelvis so that you feel your sitting bones moving down, your low back starting to lift. Now you're gonna keep that and start to engage the low belly. Try to hug it in, hug the ribs in, getting into that upper part of the core. Keep this action through the tilt of the pelvis, the low belly engagement, the rib engagement, and lift your legs to 90 degrees. And as you come to 90 degrees, hug with the muscles of your legs. As you hug, try not to press your low back down. You're keeping that lift, but also engaging the low belly and the ribs. Take a full big deep breath, engage your feet, squeeze in, hands come to your thighs and push. And as you push, you get to push so much that maybe it would be hard to say anything, or you get to push just a little bit. Decide where it's appropriate for you to work right now. Take a breath. Use your breath to help you re-engage your core. And then set your feet down. Take the block out. You can set that aside. And now we're moving our legs. So walk your feet out wide, drop them side to side, a little windshield wipering. And as you windshield wiper, you can always take your hands right to your ribs, right to that solar plexus area, or you can open your arms or reach them, whichever feels the best to you. And now, legs straight up in the air, or as straight up as is comfortable. And from this place, reach through your heels, and then find that rotation of your inner thighs, like you're trying to push a block toward the wall in front of you, so much that your heels separate a little bit. You might find that you can tilt your sitting bones a little bit more down when you make that action. And now engage the low belly. Engage the ribs, and then from the collarbones, reach your arms and lift your chest. As you lift your chest, you're trying to reach toward your toes. You might reach your toes, you might not, but think of a little crunch through the ribs, if that's okay for your body, and if your ribs are saying no, then maybe set your shoulders back down and just reach through your fingertips. Take a big deep breath. And then lower all the way down, knees drawing toward your chest, and rock side to side. And now, spinal twist, knees are in close. You can keep them just together, or you can cross left thigh over the right to take your legs over to the right side, dropping them onto a prop. And as you do that, the intention is to be able to keep both of your shoulders down. So if the left shoulder is lifted, then maybe prop a little higher, or shimmy your shoulders over a couple inches to the left. And from there, you can open arms up, especially if your shoulder is down. Take a couple big deep inhales and exhales. And as you do so, you're taking a full breath, but remember that in twists, our breath is inhibited. And so we get to let the breath be a natural full breath, not trying to make it go further than it does. And now inhale back up to center with your legs. And if your legs were twisted on the first side, then maybe take the right thigh over the left, prop over to the left, and then drop your legs over to the left. And again, notice where your shoulders are, maybe inch your shoulders a few inches in the direction of the twist. Maybe open arms up to a T or turn your gaze. Find what feels the best in your body right now. Full breath. And now inhale back up to center with your legs and uncross them. And now start to find your way into your most comfortable resting pose. Whatever that happens to look like, using props, maybe a blanket over you. Take time to let yourself settle and find what's comfortable and take some breaths. Begin to take a deeper breath. And add some gentle movements into fingers and into toes. And as you're ready to bend your knees and roll to your side. And then slowly, gently press yourself back up to your seat. And now if you'd like to take the hand posture for this chakra, then clasp your hands right in front of your solar plexus. And then extend the middle fingers so that your fingers are touching out in front of you. And with your eyes closed, come back to that affirmation of I stand in my personal power. I stand in my personal power. Have a very peaceful, beautiful day. Namaste. Thanks, everybody.